Hey, Wally, welcome in. Hey, give me a sound check, Wally. Can you hear me? Don't know if I've got good enough sound for this or not. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm good. I just kind of wanted to get out here and do a live today. I know sometimes people say you should have scheduled it, but a lot of times it don't work out for me to schedule it. When the opportunity arises or situation hits where I can, I just have to go ahead and do it. But just kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with the channel and stuff that's going on with me. Sweet. I haven't thrown a leg across a bike, and because last weekend I had to deal with the rodeo, so I was busy all last weekend. Probably been a couple of about 3 weeks since I've got to actually go for a good ride. My schedule has been hectic this year. I haven't got to do anything really that I've wanted to do. Hey Neil, welcome in. We'll get to see if a few more people want to come on in, and we'll. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you spend any time off of a motorcycle, you got to reacclimate yourself to it. And I don't care if you're riding it or if you're just a passenger. It takes a little bit of acclimation to get yourself back into it. Jay Bird, you working today, Jay? Figured you'd be at the sandwich shop, Jay. Yeah, Neil, it is. I had the opportunity and a little bit of free time here, and I hadn't went live in a while. And of course, I've got a lot of stuff going on with the channel. As most of y'all know, who's been watching and been keeping up, I've been kind of bouncing back and forth with things, and I've landed. I've got this series going on now with the UFO stuff. Uh, I think even tomorrow's video is going to be. I think tomorrow's video I talk about Area 51. That I've got another one coming out where I'm going to be talking about the moon landing and stuff like that. But yeah, that's man. I landed on the UFO stuff, and I really wasn't planning to spend as much time on it as I've ended up spending on it. Which has kind of taken me away from the cryptid stuff a little bit. But the Halloween stuff is going to be pretty good. As normal, there will be a lead in episode at the end of September that will lead us into the month of October. I've got to get some scripts put together. Right now this year at this point in time, I'm so far behind where I was last year at this point in time when I was doing the cryptid stuff. I'm just way behind right now. So I'm actually next week going to be taking a few days off of work, and I'm going to be 1 or 2 solid days just focusing on trying to get this stuff put together to where I can get it shot. But yeah, it's just timing, man. I like my timing this year to do anything has just completely been. I haven't got to travel like I wanted to. I haven't got to go on many long rides as I wanted to. I was actually planning on next week when I do take a few days off. I was actually planning on riding back up to Maggie Valley to Wheels Through Time, but I'm not sure now that my schedule is even going to allow me to do that. Uh, I'm just so far behind right now with everything that uh, I'm just having to do things as it comes up. But well, with the UFO, and we'll talk a little bit about that here for a minute. The UFO stuff, you know, you got to be careful when you're doing the ufology stuff because it's murky water. You know, since man has first flew, pilots and people like that's been reporting UFOs. Uh, so when you dive into that stuff and you do research on it and you start trying to put timelines together, if you're not careful, you get from the factual information, which y'all who've been with me for a while, y'all know that I like to try to get the facts of a situation going. I like to try to find out what's the actual facts. I try not to get into the murkiness if I can keep from it, but sometimes with these subjects like UFOs, like Bigfoot, paranormal, a lot of times with that stuff, you have to get into the murky water because if you don't, you're not going to get the whole story. Hey, Robin. Hey, welcome in, brother. But when it comes to the ufology stuff, you really got to rightfully divide it out. You got to focus on okay, this aircraft in 1987 reported a UFO, and like one of the things that I just recently was doing some research on was a Japan Airlines flight that uh, ended up in NORAD, the Northern Air Defense Network. Uh, where these guys were basically harassed in the air by a UFO, and I was listening to the black box reportings from the airplane. Those guys right there, guys, airline. This guy at the time that this happened, he had been in the air for 29 years flying. So when somebody who has been in the air for 29 years, he's flown airplanes. When he says something, I kind of pay attention to what he's saying because in 29 years of flying an airplane, he knows what's supposed to be up there with him and what's not supposed to be up there with him. So when you start getting those kind of eyewitness reports, that changes the tone of what's going on just a little bit. And for me, those guys, like, not just airline pilots, but, you got military personnel flying jets who have reported this stuff. So when those folks talk, it's kind of a little bit better to pay attention to it. Oh yeah, that like button's important, I guess, for all of us. But yeah, that's the Halloween stuff, guys. Will have 5 episodes, which I'll talk about it in some of the videos that'll be coming out tomorrow, and uh, I think I have 2 or 3 videos where I kind of touch on it. Uh, Normally, I do the 4 episodes for the 4 Mondays in October, and then I have a special Halloween night episode that comes out on Halloween night, which will be on a Friday this year. So, usually in the group the people that I'm subscribed to, that I watch on Fridays, normally Fridays is open day. There's normally not anything going on Fridays for me. So I figured that one would be pretty easy. I hope to have a good turnout for that premiere video, which will be the last video in the Halloween series. But Lolly, I think you and Frog are really going to enjoy the series that I'm putting together for Halloween because uh, it's kind of a history uh, episodes. I'm going to be moving through different points of history, talking about one subject. So I really think you guys are going to enjoy that one. I hope everybody enjoys it. But I've certainly enjoyed researching about it. I've learned a lot. Of course, it's like any subject. If you don't study it, then you're not going to know anything about it. But I would like to get to a point to where I get these things into rotation, get them into a regular rotation on Rolling with T-Bone. Uh, sometimes I hit a subject and I'll stay there for a while. Like with cryptids, when I did started the cryptid series, I did a lot of cryptid episodes. Uh, so I kind of want to get to where I can rotate it out. Like one time I could do a cryptid, one time we could talk ufology, next time we can talk paranormal. I'm trying to get it to where I can rotate it and do it like that. But then I've also got the Find the Road series. I'm really enjoying that. Going out riding roads that are new to me or that I hadn't been on for a long time. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, Last year when I started the cryptids in North America, I really did not expect it to be as popular as it was. I didn't expect that people would take to it being a motorcycle channel. I was really nervous about doing it, but then I thought, well, hell, this is my channel. This is stuff that interests me. It's not for everybody, but uh, at the end of the day, so far, what I found with the people who are subscribed to my channel, y'all seem to enjoy pretty well much the same stuff that I do. So we've had great conversations and live streams and everything else about it. And to me, if you stay away from the taboo, if you stay away from what you're able to put together in your mind, how many people miss out on stuff just because in their mind they can't picture it happening. And that's just, man, being closed minded. I can't imagine being closed minded. I've always been open minded ever since I was a kid. And I've always enjoyed learning about different stuff. I've always enjoyed hearing about different stuff because I, I've seen enough, I guess, in my life that when somebody tells me something that has happened to them, I don't have to be skeptical, if that makes sense, because I know what it's about. And I think when you can identify with people, yeah, absolutely, silver linings and new knowledge. But yeah, I mean, I like to hear what people's stories are. I like to hear what has happened to them. A lot of times when you meet somebody and they kind of got a quirky personality, or if they've got a quiet personality, or if they've got a have to warm up to them personality, a lot of times there's a story in someone's life that has happened to them that has made them that way. I mean, your personality is something that, although it can change throughout the years, usually a quiet person around new people is always going to be a quiet person around new people. A outgoing person who's just got a bubbly personality and never meets a stranger, that person's usually normally always going to be that way. So a lot of times when you meet somebody who is that way, and all of a sudden their personality does a complete 180 and goes in the opposite direction, usually there's some kind of interesting story that has caused that particular thing to happen to them. Something significant has happened that's caused them to go in a different direction. But yeah, that's oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, me, I run my mouth. I don't care. I like to talk to people. I like to meet new people. I try not to ever meet a stranger. Uh, I try to always be approachable. A lot of people throughout the years, especially when I was wrestling and I was promoting and shot calling, a lot of people wouldn't approach me, and that bothered me because they were afraid to come to me and say anything about something. And I would rather be approachable. I would rather for people to be comfortable to feel like they can come up to me and talk to me about anything. And y'all have heard me say it before in videos. I'm the type of person I can sit down and I can talk to the Christians, or I can go ride with the outlaws. It don't matter to me. I can adapt who I need to be in most all situations. I can be who I need to be in any situation. Right? Trauma. Yeah. Well, Jay Bird, I don't know about trauma, man. Everybody's got trauma, I guess, but a lot of times, and what I was saying when I meant that about people's personalities taking a 180 is a lot of times something has happened to them and they don't know how to explain it, or they're afraid to try to talk to someone about it, or they're afraid that they're going to be mocked or ridiculed because of it. A lot of people who see Bigfoot never talk about it. You know, a lot of people who hear a bump in the night in their house or they see something strange in their house, a lot of times they never talk about it. You know, sometimes if they're outside and they look up and they see something that ain't supposed to be in the sky, they never talk about it because they're afraid people are going to ridicule them. And a lot of times, if you got, especially someone who with in this is, again, guys, this is just my experience. This is just me talking. A lot of times in life, if I've known somebody who's got a real outgoing personality, that all of a sudden their personality switches. Normally with a little bit of talking, a little bit of making them comfortable. A lot of times, and yeah, sometimes it is trauma. But a lot of times it's like, well, hey, I was working outside the other evening, and I kept feeling like something was watching me. And then usually you start getting the story. I've had a lot of people tell me things that have happened to them that started out just by me trying to get them comfortable to talk to me. Uh, I've talked to people who's had, you know, not per se it's Bigfoot, but you know, yeah, man, I was outside working in my garden one evening, and I've got this wood line out. I said, man, I always just feel like somebody's watching me. You know, you start getting those kind of stories, and to me, those are that's very interesting. I enjoy that a lot. I love hearing people's experiences with stuff, especially when it's stuff that's taboo. And sadly, a lot of this is taboo. Hey, brown chicken. But yeah, guys, if you just got in here, what we're doing, we're just sitting here talking about everything going on with Halloween series coming up, and I couldn't schedule live because I didn't know I was going to go live till I just went live. So there you are, I'm live. Hey, Froggy. But when we when we open ourselves up to listening to what other people's got to tell us, and that's why I've said this in a million videos, and it kind of keeps coming back up because it's something that I firmly believe in. If somebody's willing to talk to you about something, don't patronize them. Don't just say, "Well, I don't believe you, but you can tell me whatever you're going to tell me." People don't need to be patronized. They need somebody who's going to say, "Okay, yeah, hey, you know, let me see if I can help you figure out what this is." A lot of times, just a extra ear or a third person's point of view means a lot to people. But but I know for me, and again, guys, this is just me. If I'm talking to somebody about something, if they start patronizing me, then I just kind of walk away from them. Cousin, hey Ray Ray, you feeling any better? I know you. They said you've been feeling bad over the last couple of weeks. Man, I wish I could have got to the road more this summer. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. The way the weather is doing right now, the way everything's cooling off, it seems like we're getting ready to have an early fall in North Georgia. Well, man, I hope it's nothing serious. I know you you had said in one of your ride videos the other day I'd watched that you still had a little bit further to go before you could get into the before you could get on the Social Security and all that with the benefits of insurance and everything, get your insurance. Man, I probably, once I got that insurance, if I was you, I probably wouldn't hang loose. I'd probably try to get to a doctor as quick as I could and let them start running some tests. I mean, of course, you got this. It's a double-edged sword because, in one way, you want to know what's going on, but then on the other side of the sword, do I really want to know what's going on? I'm of the type that believes that if it ain't something that puts me flat on my back and stops me from working, then usually I'm pretty good. Uh, you know, but if it's something that puts me flat on my back, then I might want to know what's going on then. Yeah, we are definitely out of the 90s now. I think it's like 72 here, and we got a nice little breeze blowing. Of course, it's blowing in rain, but uh, okay, that's a plane. It'd be hell see a UFO right here in the middle of a live stream. Okay, Sterling's got a new video out. I haven't seen it. Oh, he bought a new BMW. Sweet. What did he get? Did he get an R18? Of course, knowing Sterling is probably ADV bike. But yeah, I think we're going to have a. I've noticed that some of the leaves are already starting to turn, and we're not even last week of August yet. Some of the leaves are already starting to turn. My walnut trees, R1 was telling me yesterday that she noticed some of the walnuts was already starting to drop, and normally that don't happen till about mid to late September. The walnuts start dropping. But yeah, that'd be some shit to see a UFO live. Hey, Flip. But yeah, the trees here are already starting to turn. The temperature's cooling off. Once our heat index drops, like the other day, we had it was probably about 90, and then a week later we went from that to I think 75. But I was looking at my phone, and that day we didn't have any humidity whatsoever. The humidity was 0%, and that's really rare for us to have zero humidity. Yeah, usually, usually August for us is just miserable. And we have had some days of 95 with the 106 heat index, but for the most part, it hasn't just been unbearable. I mean, we've had some really hot days, but uh, yeah, I think we're going to get an early fall this year. I think fall's going to hit early. And then usually when we get a early fall, we usually have a very cold winter follows it. All right, brother. Will you be safe? And I'll holler at you. I'll get with y'all sometime this coming week. I got a couple things I want to get done. Uh, like I said, Jay, I'm going to be taking a few days off at the end of next week. Flip, glad that you're in here. I know I had mentioned to you that I was thinking about riding to Maggie Valley uh, for my birthday. My schedule don't look like it's going to let that happen, but if it does change, I'll let you know. So did Sterling buy the motorcycle? I looked there and it looked like it says I'll never own one or something. Did he actually buy the motorcycle? Huh. Now, is it the drones that are flying around still, or is it something else, Brock? 2 o'clock, between 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, brother. I ain't doing nothing but snoring. I ain't gonna lie to you. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning to go to work, and usually, yeah, I haven't watched the video yet, chicken. That's why I was asking. I don't. I don't know if he bought it yet or not. I didn't know he had it till it was mentioned here. I need to go check it out. Yeah, yeah. That drone thing, man. That for a story like that to get so much press as it did for weeks, it was just drones, 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 and then all of a sudden, there's no more drone stories. That's kind of weird. And again, those are the things like that happen that actually, those kind of things happen, and then you get into the realm of murky water of conspiracy theory. I mean, who knows? It could have been us. It could have been aliens. Hell, who knows? I would be more with the drone thing. I would be more worried about other countries flying drones into our airspace, checking us out. That I think that's where for me, the real concern would be is that okay, you say it ain't ours, it belongs to somebody. Somebody's flying them drones into our airspace, whether it was us or not. Somebody was doing it. So somebody was doing it. Yeah, whether it was us, and if it was us, I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. I've never understood that when it comes to things that happen in this country. Why everything has to be so damn secretive? Just go on TV and say, "Hey guys, you're going to look up in the sky. We're flying drones. We're mapping areas out. We're trying to test new technology. So that's us you're looking at. Okay, fine. Then go on with your business. Do whatever you got to do. I don't know why everything has to be so hush hush and secretive all the time. I mean, shit. The secret's out. Every news station on the entire East Coast, the Eastern Seaboard, were showing pictures of drones flying. So the secret's out. I mean, worst kept secret in history right there. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. It's funny, Frog, all that did happen right before he went out of office. I'm sure if you did a lot of research, you find out that kind of like when Obama went out of office, there were a lot of crazy things happen when they went out of office. But, I try not to, I'm not a political person. I don't try to do any kind of politics over here because to me, politics is good for nothing but blowing your heart up because you get so pissed off at them that I don't have that kind of patience anymore. I used to watch it a lot, keep up with politics and watch everything that was going on, and I really think that's why I went gray headed was watching politics. Some people's channels do good with politics. I just don't care. One of the things is I just don't care because I came to a conclusion probably 15 years ago. Uh, they don't care. No side cares about their own people. The government don't care about us at any level. As long as they're getting their ends met and they're getting to make their laws or whatever, they don't really care about us. They don't care about you and me. Uh, so I don't really think that at the end of the day we can stop it because every time you start talking about revolution, everybody hollers insurrection. So I don't know. It's a bunch of crap. Everybody put all their eggs in the Donald Trump basket and come to find out that basket's got a hole in the bottom of it. So, yeah, that's why I don't get involved in those conversations because all it is people get pissed off because you don't believe the same that they do, or you call out the nonsense that their side is doing, whether it be left or right. It don't matter. They're both full of shit. Uh, to a voting booth on election day, and you're stuck with shit. You just have to figure out which one don't stink the worst. That's always kind of been my view on it. Is just which one don't stink the worst. That's because they're both shit. But uh, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. The two to four, y'all still seeing lights in the sky. That's interesting. I know he was channel called. There's a channel out there on YouTube. I don't know if any of y'all ever watched it or not, but it's called Hellbent Holler, and they went and the ghost lights. I can't remember exactly where that's at, but they went and recorded it and actually recorded the lights. They saw it, so that was very interesting. But I think when it comes to the skies, and this is kind of the thing. I try to put myself into a position of a pilot. If you're sailing long at 39,000 feet, say it's 2 a.m., you're sailing along at 30,000 feet, and then all of a sudden you look over to the left and you see something flying beside you. Well, you're in trouble because there ain't no spot there. That's where the rubber meets the road, and there ain't even no road. When you know you're supposed to be there alone, and then all of a sudden you look out the window and then something's flying right along with you. That's a pretty spooky scenario because at 39,000 feet, literally your ass is just hanging out in the air. Uh, but yeah, that's always interested me. And like I say, those guys who give those reports to me come with a little bit more validity because they know what's supposed to be out there. They know what they're supposed to see and what they're not supposed to see. So when those guys say, hey, this thing was flying all around the front of my plane and it would take off and then it would come back real quick and stop, I tend to believe that they were really seeing something. But then, of course, I think about Ray Gregory. Uh, Second cousin Ray Ray's cousin James says if you want to piss off the flight attendants and the pilots, when the flight attendant comes around and asks you what you have to drink, just tell her you'll have what the pilots are having. James told that joke one time. I spewed Mountain Dew everywhere. He said, if you want to piss them off, just tell them when they come to ask you what you want to drink, just tell them you'll have what the pilots are having. Yeah, so they're keeping themselves hid. Yeah, I've watched that here in the night sky. Me and TJ, my son, we've been out, and and the way we see them here, and people say it's satellites. Well, it can't be satellites because a satellite would not be that visible at 10 o'clock at night. But you'll see this bright globe just go. It'll be in the air, tracking along. Then you'll look over here and you'll see an FAA plane with the flashing lights. You'll see an airliner, and all of a sudden this thing just blinks out until it gets past it, and then it'll get bright again. I've seen that before. Yeah. Oh yeah. But oh god, dude, I laugh so hard. Uh, what Ray's comment there? If you've never watched James Gregory, you need to go watch him. He really is the funniest man in America. Uh, he had went on vacation somewhere, and he was doing an island hopping thing, going from one place to the other on small planes. And he said the pilot came up to him and asked him how much he weighed. James said, "Why do you need to know that?" He says, "So we'll know how much fuel to put into the plane." He said, "Fill it up. Hell, I'll pay for it. Fill it up." He said, "Wouldn't it be bad to crash and die because some fat chick lied about her weight?" Oh, God. He said, "Fill it up. I'll pay for it. Fill it up." Oh, man, he was so funny. I would have liked to have got with him and Ray and just sat down. And, man, I bet some of the stories that James and Ray could tell would probably make you hurt. You'd probably laugh so hard that you'd hurt. I really wish I could have got to meet James. He seemed like a nice guy, too. He seemed like just and a genuine human being. He seemed like he was just really a good guy. The same way Ray is. I mean, I met Ray Gregory, and I mean, me and Ray hit it off, and it was like, hell, we've known each other for 30 years. And really, in the South, that's usually the way it is. Usually, that's why I say I try to never meet a stranger. Usually, when I meet somebody, just in a few minutes, it seems like I've known them for 30 years. But yeah, well, and that was one of the things that I loved about his comedy was it's not that he was getting up there just telling jokes for the sake of telling jokes. He's telling stories that happened to him. Like the one I don't know, Ray, if it's I don't know if it was exactly the way James said it or not, but one of my favorite stories that he told was about the uncle. Uh, he said that he was him and may have been you. It was him and some of the cousins were sitting in the floor watching cartoons. I think it was the Muppets, and he said he said that the uncle said, said Miss Piggy came on and said the uncle said, that's not a real pig, right? He said, well, hell yeah, I know that's not a real pig. Pig wouldn't be caught dead wearing something like that. Right? James said that's when he gigged his cousin inside and said, right there's a dumbass. He was also the one that they had came out with the statistic. Hey, Carney. They had came out with the statistic that all accidents happen within a mile of your house. And he said, the uncle said, how the hell do they know where I live? Oh, he was the one I think too who wanted a two-story trailer. He wanted a two-story trailer. I don't know. Just the way James tells the stories and just his manner and his demeanor. I mean, he can tell you some of the funniest shit you ever heard. Keep a straight face and look you dead in the eye while he's telling you, and it's just that's a gift that a lot of people just don't have. But everything he's ever done, like the one the cousin who got caught in the hay baler, he had got fell asleep and fell off the tractor and got bailed up in a bale of hay. That was just he yeah. Well, Hooligan has been inviting me to come to Alabama for a couple of years now, but I mean Fort Payne's only as the crow flies it's about a 2 hour trip for me to get from here to Fort Payne, Alabama. Uh, I can go to Chattanooga and hit 20 and be in Fort Payne in no time. Couple hours, but hell, it's just like everything else I've tried to do this year. My schedule just has been so wrecked this year. This past winter, and I'd even mentioned it in some of my episodes that I had talked about. This coming summer, I want to try to go some places and do some things. And in the early spring this year, we had a lot of rain. One of the wettest springs I remember having in a while, and we had GAM coming up, the Georgia Motorcycle Meetup. So I kept thinking, okay, once we get past that, then that's when, and then my whole schedule just went completely off the rails. That's why I told R1, I said, I'm about tired of trying to plan anything. Because every time I try to plan something, uh, it gets completely crushed. Yeah, it's been a very wet year. Yeah, that's when you don't feel good, man. And I tell people this all the time because people say, "Well, why don't you ride your motorcycle when you get off work?" When I do a 10, 12, 14 hour day, I don't feel like coming home getting on a motorcycle going for a ride. And then there's them days where, like yesterday, Saturday, uh, me and TJ ran out to town kind of about midday. But outside of that, I didn't do anything. I just kind of lazed around and just enjoyed a day of not doing anything, which was where today was leading until I decided to go live for a little while. Sometimes you just got to have those times where you can just sit down You can decompress. If you don't feel good, you can kind of rest a little bit. And a lot of times I found for me, when I'm not feeling good like that, sometimes that's my body telling me, hey, you need to stop. You need to stay off the equipment for a little while. You need to, and where I work at, with the equipment that I use and all the stuff that I do, if I'm on my track, in which I've got to do my fall bush hogging at work here coming up pretty soon, that's going to happen probably within the next 3 weeks. I'm going to have to put the bush hog on my tractor and start bush hogging at work. And those days like that, man, when I'm on that bush hog for 8 hours, I come home, I feel like I've been ran over by a damn freight train. Uh, but I know I've got all that facing me. That's why probably when I do take those few days off next week, my birthday and everything's going on, I'm going to try to get as much of the Halloween stuff done as I can possibly get done next week, weather permitting. A lot of things that I'm wanting to do is going to depend on what the weather is and what the weather allows me to do. Uh, but it does. We've had a wet year this year, and that kind of worries me too, because usually when we have a wet spring like that, or when we have a wet summer, usually we end up with a lot of snow during the winter, and I hope we don't this year. And I hope we don't end up with a lot of snow. Snow's nice one time a year, and then I like for it to get over with and then go on to summer. Oh yeah, Frog, yeah. Dude, them damn fields I bush hog, those fields will beat you absolutely to death. They're uneven, and I've been doing it for so long now in these fields that I've about got the good spots and bad spots down. But yeah, well, even my lawnmower work, I've got a 72-inch diesel Kubota zero-turn lawnmower that I'm on usually 3 or 4 days a week. And when I come home, I feel like I've had the crap beat out of me. I don't feel like jumping on a motorcycle and going for a 100-mile ride. And it sucks because I want to spend more time on my bikes, but I'm usually just so tired that one day I went out to uncover a bike and I was like, you know what? I'm not even sure I can hold it up right now. So I think I'm just going to stay off of the motorcycle. And sometimes you have to make that determination for yourself that, yeah, as much as you want to ride, maybe it's not the best idea for you to get out and ride. So, but running equipment, especially when if you're on an excavator and you're just sitting and digging, that's one thing. But when you're constantly moving, that's like people who drive 18 wheelers and dump trucks and stuff like that. Usually by the time they get to the end of their day, they feel like they've been in a damn knockdown, drag out fight with somebody. Because, a lot of the times I'll hit a bump, and the way I hit it on that tractor, it feels like it flips my entire insides upside down. Luckily, I've about got all those spots figured out, but yeah, I've got to get my fall bush hogging done at work. Finally got my grass mowed at home this day before yesterday, Friday, I came in and mowed. And I ended up shooting a episode for Rolling with T-Bone on Monday. Uh, and I've been doing this, just sitting down and shooting episodes off of the motorcycle, and I've been enjoying doing this. And everybody seems to enjoy it. They seem to enjoy that, I'm not, I don't always have to be on a motorcycle, but just me and you guys sitting here like this. Well, tomorrow night's episode will be the same way. It'll be me just sitting. No, it won't. I lied to you. That I'm on the motorcycle with that episode. I've done so much I can't remember what I've done. And I try to stay, oh, absolutely not. And them seats, they try to make them seats air ride, but them seats will bottom out every time you hit a hole. But to pull back the bell a little bit, a lot of times I try to stay at least 2 weeks ahead on videos. So tomorrow night's episode of Rolling with T-Bone, I shot 2 weeks ago. I try to do that. I hate to be at the last minute trying to shoot a video, get it edited, and get it uploaded. I hate being at the last minute. And That's where I'm going to end up at if I don't get to work on the Halloween stuff. Is I'm going to be yeah, exactly. But yeah, I try to stay ahead so that I'm not. I hate being rushed. I hate feeling like I'm rushed. Uh, and man, I see guys that'll do channels, and you know, you can tell that they're tired because they had to rush to get it shot, rush to get it edited, rush to get it uploaded. To me, that just takes all the fun out of it. I hate being rushed. I like to know where things are. I like to be a couple of weeks ahead on videos. Sometimes it ain't feasible, but most of the time I try to stay. Sometimes I'll shoot like on a Sunday when nothing's going on. Uh, Sometimes I'll jump on the bike and I'll go shoot 2 episodes that day, 2 weeks worth of videos that day. Sometimes it works out for me that way, which is kind of what I'm hoping is going to work out when I take these few days off next week. Is that I'm going to be able to get most of the stuff done for the Halloween stuff that I need to get done in just a couple of days there, a couple of days of doing it. I still got to get the scripts wrote. Uh, and I know people say you write scripts. Well, yeah, because I study. And if you're new here, the people who have been here with me for a long time, they'll tell you when I go into an episode, if I'm talking about a subject, usually I put a lot of information in that video. And to get that information, I have to study that shit. And I have reached the age where middle age memory loss is real. I've gotten to the point where I have to write stuff down because if I don't, I'll forget. And I've done that before on the motorcycle, just completely went blank. Like, was it this past Monday's episode? Well, it was the Roswell episode. I remember that much. I couldn't remember Orson Welles' name to save my life. And I've watched and listened to just about everything Orson Welles has ever done, and I could not remember his name to save my life. I literally had to pull my phone out, and of course I just Googled War of the Worlds, and Orson Welles' name popped up real quick, and I was like, yes, Orson Welles. Duh. I just you get tired like that, and that day, man, that day I shot that episode, I was tired. I was I had come to the end of a 3 day solid run. Well, no, it would have been a 7 day solid run because I worked 5 days and then I had to drive for the rodeo 2 days. So I had the rodeo going on, and I shot that episode. And by the time I shot that episode, I was just completely shot. I was done. And it's hard. It's hard to shoot episodes when you get that tired. It's hard to focus. It's hard to remember what the points that you're trying to make. Because a lot of times I try to hit certain points. That's what you know, kind of the high points of what I'm trying to talk about. And you get tired like that. Hell, you can't remember what you're talking about. And I was really tired that day. And it came across in the video, but I had shot the video and I did all the work editing, and I kind of waffled around for a little while. I thought, man, should I just reshoot the episode? And I was like, you know what? This is just me. This is who I am. People are just going to have to deal with it. And the episode went on the way it went on. Uh, and what bothers me about doing that is a lot of times I get dates wrong, I get names wrong. And I really, when I'm talking about stuff like that, I really want to try to be as accurate with the information that I'm given as humanly possible. I mean, if it happened in 1947, I want to make sure I let you guys know that it happened in 1947. So I try to get to where I can remember the facts, the high points of it, because to me that those are the most important things. Uh, you know, you can just get out here and talk out your ass for 30 minutes, but I try not to do that. I try to make it interesting because at the end of the day, I want everybody to walk away and go, hey, yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to go check this out for myself. And maybe they'll learn something new that they never knew. That's kind of what I try to get out of it. But yeah, man, how long we been going here? Oh shit, we've been going almost an hour. That's 50 minutes in. I always say these lives are going to be short, and then I end up about an hour and 15 minutes. But yeah, it's just kind of me wanted to get on here and just touch base with you guys, let you know what was going on and how things are going. Uh, I know Hooligan had mentioned it in a comment the other day. He said, I was wondering how you were doing because I haven't been on a lot. I haven't, been on hardly any of the live streams. I haven't had time. And, if I get a couple of videos behind on somebody's channel, usually that's just because I haven't had the time to do it. Right. Well, it bothers me when it was something like, and I know I mentioned it, but something just as simple as Orson Welles' name. That really bothered me that I forgot his name. I was like, hell, I know Orson Welles' name as well as I know my own name. Uh, but I just, and also in that episode, I could not put the words together. I could not put the words reverse technology together. I was saying reverse engineering. I almost did it again. I was saying reverse technology. I was saying everything but reverse engineering. I could not put those two words together to save my life. Uh, but those are candid. Those are candid moments that happens, and in like I always say, I try to be transparent with you guys, let you know what's going on. That's really what's going on. I'm flubbing it up. I'm making a blooper reel without even trying. So, but that's all part of keeping it real. Keeping, I just try to be authentic. Authentic. I try to be me. I try not to put on airs. The guy, and Ray can tell you because Ray has met me face to face. The guy I am sitting here talking to you right now, that's the guy you're going to meet out there on the road somewhere. I'm the same guy all the time. I'm just I'm just me. I don't try to put on airs. Right. Yeah, I don't remember what the first thing was either. But yeah, the middle age memory loss, that's serious. It's real. Uh, uh, you wake up one day and and I don't try to equate it to someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's, but it because a lot of times with dementia or Alzheimer's, you forget something you don't even know you forgot. But me, I forgot Orson Welles' damn name, and I knew I forgot his name. I knew I knew who I was talking about. But yeah, that middle age memory loss, man. I can be talking on the camera on the motorcycle. I can have the camera on, and I can be just in the middle of a monologue and just completely forget what I'm talking about. Or I can come to a point that I'm trying to make and forget that point, and it will completely throw everything I do after that off. And I try not to stammer and stutter through it. I try to continue to have a coherent conversation about things, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, what the hell did I forget? I forgot something here, but I don't remember what it was. And then I'll remember it, and then I've already moved so far past it that I'll circle back and I'll say, yeah, and what I meant to say here or what I was talking about here, and I do that a lot. So that's just me trying to chase my memory around inside my head. That's all that is. Yeah, it's a lot with me, Carney. I'm doing it a lot more than what I'll even comfortable admitting to myself. Uh, I've had times where I've left the house to go to the store and have to text R1 and ask her why I came to the store. I have been literally been standing in the middle of the Dollar General and text her and say, why did I come to the store? And then she'll tell me why I went to the store. I'm like, oh yeah, I needed this, that, and this. And I've gotten to the point now to where if I don't write down what I need from the store, I'll go in and buy everything but what I need. I've done that a few times too. Yeah, that middle age memory loss, it ain't no joke. But I hope y'all are doing good. I hope everybody out there is doing good. I know I've been kind of absentee on YouTube, but to be honest with you, and I'm not going to lie, I have started on. I canceled a couple of my streaming subscriptions. Uh, I canceled Paramount. I think it may have been Paramount, and I got a HBO Cinemax subscription. And some of the shows that I used to love to watch came on HBO. And I am in the rabbit hole of the Game of Thrones right now. I'm watching the Game of Thrones. I went back from the beginning. Now I'm watching it. I think I'm up to season 5. Great show. But if you're into the dragons and kind of Dungeons and Dragons themes, sci-fi stuff, I'm not fully in that vein, but I do like to watch that stuff from time to time. And they got. I love the. It was a early 2000s. HBO did a series called Deadwood. I really enjoyed Deadwood. I've got it on DVD, but HBO, I enjoy the subscription to HBO Max. I should have went with them in the beginning because they've got literally everything that I love to watch. And a lot of y'all don't know this about me. I'm a big. Uh, I never was a big comic book reader, but I've always been a fan of like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. I've watched all that stuff, and man, HBO has a ton of the Superman movies. They've got the original Christopher Reeves movies, stuff that from my childhood that I really loved to watch. So all HBO has all of that. Yeah, yeah, I've done that before too. Be in the middle of a live stream, have a point of the live stream that I never even talk about. So that's why when I start the live stream, I usually try to get what I need to say out of the way. But we've been going at this, guys, for almost an hour or so. Like I said, I just wanted to do a quick touch base. I hadn't been on a live in a little while. I hadn't done a live. If you get a chance, if you haven't, go check out Frog and Lolly's channel, Mythical Riders, Mystical Themes. I was on live with them here about 3 weeks ago. Uh, if you haven't had a chance to watch that, go back and rewatch that. We had a great conversation, had a good time. I hope to be able to do it again soon, to be able to get on there with them guys, because it really was fun. Of course, paranormal, ufology, cryptid. We talk all of that stuff on there. And I don't think that Lolly ever thought she would be a natural at doing the live streams, but Lolly is really good at running the live stream. Her and Frog both are. Uh, they they usually have points and subjects that they try to stay along the lines of, and you know, if you haven't went and watched them yet, go subscribe to their channel and watch some of the old live streams. Frog does a lot of stuff with the spirit boxes. Uh, he does a lot. They do a lot of paranormal stuff, and to me, I think that's just cool as hell. Uh, you know that you can see this stuff happen live. He can ask a question and then it'll answer on the spirit box, or something will fall over and move, or it's a lot of paranormal stuff happening around them, and a lot of times, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, you guys do a great job, but a lot of times people say, "Well, that stuff don't never happen to me." Well, that's because usually you got a closed mind. A lot of times when you're open minded, you become susceptible to stuff like that because you're willing to hear it, you're willing to see it, uh, you're willing to have an open mind of what it is. That's why I always say try to approach this stuff with an open mind. You will enjoy it more, and you'll get more understanding out of it if you have an open mind. Don't just be patronizing about it. Don't just, well, there ain't nothing else to do, so I guess I'll watch this. If it's something that you're not into, that's fine. But don't patronize people when you talk to them about their experiences, because a lot of times these experiences are taboo and people are already uncomfortable talking about them in the first place. So, but I love that stuff myself. So, if you're new here and you find this live stream in the, I'll put it up for public view after it ends. Yeah, I very much believe in paranormal stuff, ufology, very much, because I've seen things myself. And when you see things yourself, when you see it and you know it exists, and I know Frog and Lolly are going to know exactly what I'm talking about right here, because it's the same thing with cryptids, the stuff that I've been through with Bigfoot. There, to an extent, you want it to be validated, but when you meet somebody who just is so close-minded that they never want to think outside the box, it's frustrating, because you know the truth and you just want other people to, at least, even if they don't accept it, just acknowledge that, yeah, it can be that way. Yeah, these things can exist. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times, like with John, retired writer, uh, of course, they still do the rabbit hole, which I started with John back at the first of the year. Uh, and I still go in and check out the rabbit hole from time to time because I still have a vested interest in it. It was kind of one of them things. Me and him and Cody, or his brother Coy, we all kind of started that together. And I don't want to see John fail with it because I know John has put money, time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I know Lolly helps host it sometimes. But when we first started, I told John, I said, I want us to approach the rabbit hole with the ideal of being so open minded about it that people will be interested in coming in and talking to us in the rabbit hole about their own experiences. So that's the public consumption that I want people to have about the rabbit hole. Now I do have my own concerns about the way it's going. That sometimes I see it and I look at the numbers. Sometimes I'll click on and there ain't but 10 people watching. And when you think about a product that began all the way back, I think we started our first episode was it was either late January or it was early February that we did the first episode of the rabbit hole. Uh, you want to see the numbers continue to grow. Now, John has put that on platforms like Spotify. I think there's a couple other I know Pandora maybe, but that's money. It costs him money every month to do that, and I got a vested interest in the show. Of course, I haven't been on the show in a long time. Uh, People who know why they know why I haven't been on there. I was just trying to give some constructive criticism and kind of trying to keep somebody away from saying that they didn't believe in anything. And I put in the comments one night. I said, if you don't believe in anything, then it's hard for people to tell you their story. And that just climbed up one's ass, and it went the wrong way, and he got all butthurt about it. And I'm like, dude, it don't affect me. I don't have to be here. That's But I do have a still got a vested interest in that show. I want John to be successful with it. I think right now I think the formula still has got to be tinkered with just a little bit, but he'll get it. He'll get it. Uh, John's a great guy. John ain't gonna fail. Uh, People like John. We like talking to John. I mean, I still message with John quite a bit on Facebook. So you know, I think it's just a formula, and it's just like here we're rolling with T-Bone. I talk about evolving my channel. I'm constantly tinkering with the formula because I don't want to become stale. I don't want to become a one hit pony. I don't want to become stuck in a rut. Uh, so I'm constantly trying to evolve what I do. And that's the same thing with the rabbit hole. John will get it. I mean, he'll get it. Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure how he's streaming now. I know in the beginning when we started, it was on StreamYard. I'm not sure how he's doing it now. I know his situation has changed. Uh, I know he just recently is going through a divorce, which that's his story to tell. Whatever he decides to share about that on his channel. Uh, yeah, these pit vipers, these some I've got to get me a new pair. I've had these for a while. I'm sunglass poor, dude. Hats and sunglasses, I'm poor. I got them everywhere. I've got y'all who have seen me shoot videos inside of my truck. Some have commented on sunglasses. I'm sunglass poor. I've got sunglasses everywhere. Uh, I've got about two or three pair of these pit vipers. They're comfortable to an extent, but I've got another pair of pit vipers that are not adjustable that I use for work, and I wear them all the time. But I really do like the pit vipers products. Doyle over Blue Bike and Doyle, he commented on one of my videos one day. He said the '90s called and they said they wanted their glasses back. They ain't getting them back. This is pure, first gen Oakleys. Y'all remember the first generation Oakleys, big old wraparound sunglasses. I love those things. But I'm sunglass poor. I've got sunglasses everywhere. But yeah, that's just kind of what's going on. Uh, when you and I don't want to spend a lot of time harping about this subject, but when you take on a subject like ufology, paranormal, cryptid, you're going to get met with a certain amount of skepticism in the very beginning because you have different types of people that deal with this. You have the ones who try to debunk everything. You have the ones who are constantly, it can only be one way, it can't be any other way. And then you got the ones that are just open minded and believe everything's real. So you've got to rightfully divide the word of truth. You've heard me say that. You have to move in the vein, and that's why I always say I try not to get caught into the murky waters of conspiracy theory because once you get into conspiracy theory, then all bets are off. Uh, Once you get to that, to where everything is just, every light in the sky is a UFO, every bump in the night's a ghost, every howl in the woods is a cryptid. Once you get to that, and you're not willing to accept any other explanation, then you get into the murkiness of conspiracy theory. And sadly, there's a lot of people lost in that. And on the flip side of that coin, not everything has to have an explanation. Uh, I made an episode about the moon landing that'll be coming out here in a couple of weeks. When it comes to like the moon and stuff like that, I want to be able to look at the moon and still be in awe. I want to look at the moon on a beautiful, clear night with a full moon. I want to still be able to look at the moon and go, wow. I still want the wonderment for the moon. So, in saying that, I don't need to know everything about the moon. I know what the moon's there for. I know the purposes that it serves for us on this planet, with the phases and going through the phases of the moon. And I'm telling you, man, them old timers were timed in on that stuff. They were chimed in. My grandpa planted his garden by whatever the moon phase was. He harvested his garden by whatever the moon phase was. He cut wood in whatever the moon phase was, and he knew all that stuff. Like canning, when it come time to can stuff at the end of the harvest season, they would can green tomatoes and sauerkraut. They'd make sauerkraut. he would always look at where the signs were, and if it was in the head or in the heart, he would say, okay, this is the day we need to be doing this. But if it was in the kidneys or the bowels or the feet, he would say your food will go bad. Your canning food will go bad if you try to do it in the feet or in the kidneys or in the bowels. So heart, head, anything upper, you were good. Lungs were good. But them old folks, man, they knew all that stuff. My grandpa knew exactly when to do everything, and he passed that down to my dad, and my dad passed that knowledge on down to me. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't use in everyday life that I have forgotten it, sadly. But it don't take much to jog my memory. But yeah. But okay, guys. Well, we've talked from everything from aliens to canning green tomatoes, so I think we ran the gamut on this live stream. But remember, go check out Frog and Wally over Mythical Rides, Mystical Themes. Go check out John at the Unchained Down the Rabbit Hole. I think unless something has changed, they're still going up 7:30 on Sunday nights. Uh, Go check out the unaffiliated J Man and Shadow and all those guys over there. I've got an episode, a cryptid episode that I went on there and did with those guys. It's back in their older live stream, so go check that one out. And just let them know T-Bone, send them some love. So y'all go check out these other channels. But for now, guys, I'm going to back on out of here. Go try to see what Mama's cooking for supper. But until next time, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And hey, thanks for watching. Peace out.